In this video, I share my top 3 props for shooting great portraits in a small home studio. Hello, I'm Gavin Hoey and you're watching AdoramaTV, brought to you by Adorama, the camera store that's got everything for us photographers. And this video, well, it's all about props, specifically the 3 types of props I use most often here in my small studio. So that's going to be sunglasses, hats, and fabric. Now, props are fantastic for a whole bunch of different reasons. If you're working with a model who's perhaps less experienced, props are really handy because it gives them something to hold and interact with, but even experienced models appreciate props. I often find that a prop will spark an idea that I hadn't even thought of and take my shoot in a whole new direction. But moreover, props are just plain fun. So let's get this out of the way and get going with my first prop. Sunglasses. They're an essential prop for every studio, and I've got a little selection of mine right here. Now, sunglasses can work wonders in your pictures, but there's a few things you really need to know, and I'm going to start with the one that most people don't talk about, but I think is most important: hygiene. If you're using the same sunglasses over and over again, make sure you clean them thoroughly between shoots. To that end, well, I would also clean the lenses with a lens cloth, because if you hand over some nice clean lenses, you'll save yourself a load of time in Photoshop, so that's a really good idea. Next thing is lighting. Lighting sunglasses can be problematic. You're going to get reflections from the surface of the lens. Now, you can deal with that. In fact, I've got a whole video right here on AdoramaTV on how to remove reflections in camera from sunglasses. You'll find it on the Adorama Learning Center. Having said that, reflections on sunglasses can also look good. Although you can choose and get hold of really easily a great range of sunglasses, particularly on places like eBay, when you customize them, they become something different. So in this case, I've got 2 customized ones where we've just stuck some sort of little beads on this one and some rhinestones on this one. That makes them absolutely unique, like no other sunglasses, and that adds a new layer of excitement. Of course, models love to use sunglasses because, well, if they're less confident, it gives them something to hide behind, but all models like to use them because it gives them something to hold and interact with. That's always a good thing. So to help me do this, I've got Fern in the studio again, who's going to make some absolutely brilliant pictures, aren't you? Yep. Yeah, this is going to be great fun. So let's get our first prop in and start shooting. What do you think? Stick with the hat? Yeah, no, I don't think it's a fashion statement I'll be keeping, but hats as a prop are a really great thing to have in the studio. So I've got a small selection of hats that we have here. We've got more than this knocking around. Give a model a hat and you'll give them a different character. They will interact with the hat and you'll never know where you're going to go, what ideas are going to spark off. It's amazing how changing a hat changes the look and feel of your shoot. And completely different. That is a bit ridiculously big and heavy, but that's the great thing about hats. Hats don't have to be sensible. However, there's a few things you do need to know about hats. Let's start with hygiene. Once again, you need to keep your hats clean and tidy. If your hat is dirty and smelly, throw it away, get a different hat. Next, you need to think about lighting. Hats with brims cast shadows. The bigger the brim, the bigger the shadow. However, you can also use that to your advantage and create some really interesting pictures. Finally, there's the hair issue. Hats mess up hair, and that can be a really bad thing if your model spent a long time getting their hair right. So do check with your model before you give them a hat. Have somebody on hand to redo the hair, look for stray hairs. And of course it works the other way. It can actually cover up bad hair as well. So maybe I should put this back on. And well, let's get Fern in and let's do the shoot. My last prop is perhaps the least obvious prop, but the most useful thing that I've got in my studio. It's fabric, and I've got loads of different types of fabric in this studio. Now, earlier on we did the shoot with the sunglasses and I had a gelled light to change the background colour. But if you don't want to do that, you can just hang up a piece of fabric that's coloured and bingo, you've got an instant new coloured background. So that's kind of nice. I've got some black as well. Black's always really useful. I've got this lovely sequined material. This is beautiful. It has a lovely shimmer to it, which is absolutely fantastic. But fabric isn't just limited to creating new backgrounds. You can wrap fabric around your subject and then you've got a brand new set of clothing effectively. I love this stuff. This is sort of netting. I've got all sorts of different colours, very, very light, floaty fabric. You can give this to the model and they can interact with this. You can hang it up and they can kind of look through it, or you can just sort of throw it over the top of them and now they're moving around. Yeah. Models are much better than that than I am. Fabric is just a wonderful thing. I like lengths that are at least 3 meters long. That normally works quite well. Offcuts and bits and pieces I collect whenever I see them. In fact, I can't really think of a bad thing to say about fabric. Get some. Okay, let's go get this out the way, get Fern back in and get shooting. Fern did a brilliant job as the model in this shoot. She was a great sport trying on all the different hats, sunglasses and backgrounds. And hopefully that's given you some great ideas of things that you can do with props in your studio. My final tip, however, is don't overdo the props. It's possible to go too far with props. Yep, that was one pair too many. Now, if you want to see more videos from myself and the other amazing presenters right here on AdoramaTV, you should be clicking on that subscribe button. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.